is Antonio Brown selfish and pouty and all these things like people are trying to make him out to be?
I don't think so. I mean, he's a competitor. He wants the ball. I don't mind a receiver wanting the ball, but sometimes he's young. When you try to self-promote and you want to invite, you get excited. You want to bring your fans into your world. 17 minutes of Facebook Live.
He got paid for it, Hines, though, so it's all good.
Yeah, of course. I know he got paid for it, but sometimes, like I say, the locker room is a sacred place.
Yep.
Things are said, moments are shared. Sometimes there's a reason why the locker room is closed to a public, and it's because of that. And so sometimes I think for Antonio Brown, he crossed the line when he brought the outside world into that. And then, it just so happened, unfortunately, for Mike Tomlin, he was giving this speech about the Patriots. It really didn't help him or the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not that you need extra motivation, but when you call the Patriots the A word,
yeah.
Not a good sign when you want to lead up to facing the Patriots.
No, especially in the biggest game of the season that could happen in Foxborough. So you're going on the road. And we all know the cliche. Not a cliche, but it's what we say. What we see here, what we say here, stays here when we leave here. And when you violate that, people have problems with it, especially to the extent. If I said this after the fact. If it would have been 2 minutes, it probably would have been okay. But because it was so long and it gave away kind of a lot, that the Steelers had in their mind, it became an issue. Let me ask you about what Aditi Kinkabwala said about Antonio Brown. Apparently she was with you. Was she with you when this happened?
What happened? I don't know.
Well, she said that Antonio Brown was pouting after D'Angelo Williams' touchdown, which wasn't the case. But where does this story come from? Because now it's taken on a life of its own.
Well, you really don't know. There's stories that go behind the scenes that, sometimes the media really don't, doesn't have access to. And I think for time, I've heard stories where, if Antonio didn't get over 100 yards, there were going to be problems or something like that. But, you only hear stories like that. You can't confirm it or not or whatever, or you can't assume that he's just pouting. I think for all receivers, of course we want the ball, but I don't know if we're hating on other guys for scoring touchdowns. Jerome Bettis and I, we've had like this competition of this touchdown competition, and when he would score, I'd be like, no! When I would score, he'd be like, no! So, it's all a little funny game, but I think, it helped push us become better players.
Yeah.
The competition brings out the best in everyone. So I don't really know because I'm not on the team, and I can't really sit there and see it. But I know Antonio Brown. He's a competitor. He wants the ball. I don't mind that as a wide receiver. But if that is the case, that is something that needs to be dissolved quick and fast because you don't want that to kind of be a cancer of being a me guy in the terms of football, because one person can't win a Super Bowl.
No, you're right. It's the ultimate team game in the National Football League. But I know that touchdown hate, by the way, because I have every Giant rushing record except for one. And you know what it is? It's touchdowns. Because Brandon Jacobs, when I get tackled at the 2-yard line, would trot his big ass in and score my touchdown. So he has 56, and I have 55. And we beef with each other about that all the time. It's all in love, though.
It's just fun competition. Records are made to be broken. Antonio Brown's on the pace. He's going to shatter not only my record, but a lot of league records. So I don't get caught up in stats, man. I love the bond and the camaraderie with my teammates. That's what I miss more about anything. The little small competition that Jerome and I had.
Yep.
The competition that you had with some of your brothers on the team. That's what you miss the most.
Yeah, we're right. We're talking to Hines Ward, former Steeler wide receiver, Super Bowl 40 MVP, had 123 yards and a touchdown, which was an unimpressive day. The touchdown even came from Antoine Randall, not Ben Roethlisberger, but an unimpressive day for Ben in his second year. But now Ben has evolved into a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you start hearing these frustrations, I would guess, coming out. Kobe Hamilton drops that touchdown pass. He starts saying some guys aren't prepared for this moment, this stage, which it obviously seemed like they weren't. You don't take seriously this retirement talk, do you?
No. I'll be shocked if Ben Roethlisberger retire. I know he's played his whole career. He's had some some key major injuries along the way. But, I mean, think about the weapons that he's got coming back. Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, he gets Martavis Bryant, who's coming back. I mean, so he has a great opportunity to make another run at a Super Bowl the next year or two. I mean, the defense is young. They're coming along. And then look at it. I mean, he's due $18 million.
I know, it's a lot of coin to say no thank you to.
That's a lot of chips on the line right there. I mean, you know, so, I mean, injury-wise, I don't know the extent of all his injuries, but have an opportunity to make another run at the Super Bowl. You get Martavis Bryant back, and then you have over $18 million coming to you. It'd be very hard for anyone to retire, I would think.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. Now, you spent the early part of your career being coached by Bill Coward, and you won a Super Bowl with him in 40, the one that we just mentioned. But you were 5 years with Coach Tomlin. And, I mean, he gets flack because of the defense in Pittsburgh, how it doesn't live up to the defensive mindedness of the head coach. Is that all his fault? I mean, because I know him. He coached my brother, obviously, and I've spent many times with him over drinks and etc. I know what kind of guy he is. I see how he is with the players. But is it criticism that comes his way because of is that fair?
Well, it's fair because he's a defensive-minded guy. I mean, he's been a great defense coordinator for many years, so you would think you have a defensive-minded coach, you would think that defense would be top priority and stuff like that. But you have to factor in the players. They're very young in the secondary. I mean, the linebackers, I think, came into their own. And then, of course, you lose Cam Hayward. I mean, that's a big blow to the defensive line right there. So, you have to get pressure on Tom Brady. If you don't get pressure on him, he's going to pick you apart. And I think it's not just pressure from the outside, it's pressure up the middle. When you get pressure in front of Tom Brady's face, I mean, that kind of, he gets happy feet. He's not the most mobile guy in the world, but in order to beat Tom Brady, you have to hit him. You have to get after him. And I think for the Steelers, that's what they wanted to do. But game plan-wise and out on the field, they couldn't do that. And that's why Tom Brady kind of picked them apart.
Yeah, it's always easier said than done against a Bill Belichick coach team. We're talking to Hines Ward here, who is with PepsiCo in their game day grub match, which is the third year doing it. Tell us about this and how fans can get involved.
Yeah, man, it was an awesome, cool little competition. 3 chefs competed to make the ultimate game day dish and a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And I was lucky enough to be a judge alongside with Food Network chef Ann Burrell and PepsiCo executive chef Stephen Khalil. Man, we had lots of fun. The chef, they put out some creative dishes out there that just kind of blew me away. You think about PepsiCo products like Naked Juice and Quaker Oats, you wouldn't even think about that. But
no,
they
you're
made
right.
a Quaker Oat cookie and put in the Naked Juice ice cream and made an ice cream sandwich. Was amazing. I mean, flavorful, tasty. It was a great way to end a Super Bowl party with a nice little dessert like that. And then they made a banging Frito pie using Stacy pita chips, man. And I mean, we're retired now, so we get invited to all the Super Bowl parties and stuff like that. And when you go there, I'm a foodie. I want to try out all the different, the finger foods and stuff like that. But if you get a chance, check out all the episodes. Get the great recipes at GameDayGrubMatch.com. And what's cool about this, the winner of the competition get a chance to go to the Super Bowl 51, be around all the festivities that's going on, man. So it was a great opportunity to see chefs compete and pull out some great dishes, man. So I was excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, and the players will be there because if it's free, you take 3, right? That's what we do.
Exactly.
Game day grub match.
You got to have the good food.
Yep, GameDayGrubMatch.com. Now, Hines, you were a Super Bowl MVP, and I remember when this happened back in 40, because you're Korean American, and it's one of those things. It shocks you because you're like, oh, Korean American. I never thought about it until you won the MVP and realized, oh yeah, he's half Korean. But you became an international star in Korea after this happened. I mean, is it still that way over there? Do you visit?
Yeah, I get a chance to go back, and man, it's just amazing because you wouldn't, being the first Korean American to win the Super Bowl MVP, man, and a lot of Koreans, they really didn't know much about the sport of American football. When you go to Korea, it's all about soccer, baseball, and things like that. But Man, when I went over there, it was crazy. I mean, it was kind of like, remember Tiger Woods and
Yep.
the whole fans was following him
Yep.
down. That's how it was everywhere I went. It was almost like I was a hero there. It was just crazy. But I don't think it was so much that I was a hero football wise. I just think that the story about my mom and I and all the adversities that we had to overcome, and for me to have success at the highest level and still be able to be close to my mom, I think that's what the Korean Americans and all the Koreans, they fell in love with. So it was great to be a part of that, man. And now, me starting my own foundation, the Hines Ward Helping Hands Foundation, to help biracial kids, because, there's a lot of biracial kids over there that are talking about suicide because, being treated as an outcast.
Yeah.
And things like that. I mean, so, for me, I was just wondering if I would ever have the opportunities like I would now if I ever stayed in Korea. So I want to make it a special place. It's the dark side of our culture.
Yeah.
In the Korean community. So I want to make the living a better place for the biracial kids in Korea. So, man, I always get excited. I love Korean food, man.
Yep.
And,
The
for
bibimbap.
years I was ashamed of.
Yeah, I know it.
I was ashamed of being Korean.
Yeah, I know
now,
it.
man, I embrace it. I embrace my heritage, man. I get the best of both worlds, African American and Korean.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited.
Yeah, what's the foundation website again, Hines?
Hines Ward Helping Hands Foundation.
Helping Hands Foundation. I'll put it out there. I love that, Hines. But my first four kids are half Korean, half Vietnamese. So I know what you're talking about. Man, kudos to what you're doing, brother, and I appreciate you joining. Hopefully we see you down in Houston next week.